so bad. Whoa, I want you, baby. I want you so bad. I'm yearning, yearning inside.
All right. Welcome to WVRO Soul. You are listening to Master Force Radio. Welcome, everybody. And this is your host, Shemsu-t. Wait, I was getting ready to say Moot, where everyone knows that people call me Moot because that means mother in Kemetic language. However, I am Shemsu-t coming to you this week live from Detroit, Michigan. Yes, indeed. And we have a wonderful lineup for you on this first Tuesday in July. And is it July 5th already? I'm telling you, this year is just speeding along. So, welcome to Master Force Radio. We're going to be presenting a wonderful conversation. Every first Tuesday, we're going to be talking about relationships, all about relationships, not just those intimate lover relationships, but we're going to be talking about parent relationships, children relationship, co-worker relationships, neighbors, all the relationships. Because guess what? Relationships is everything. Yes. And we're going to find out all about it. So you're going to love my guest today, Coach Kim, and she's going to give it to you real. Okay. But now, before we get to our conversation, we really have to talk to Mother Mecca because I don't care what anybody say. We know that there are some strange things going on in the planet, in the universe. And we want Mother Mecca, please tell us what is going on in the universe. What is going on? Hey, Mother Mecca, how are you today?
Oh, I'm well. Your music had me really energized. I love the start, with that music. Um, Today's weather, cosmic weather, I know you guys are feeling this energy. You have to, you have to embrace it. I know it's going to be a big change for some of you because just like that song, it had me energized, it had me ready to go. Yet it's time to slow down. Okay. So what's going on July 5th today on this first new Tuesday? So I know you guys are probably sleeping when it happened, but at 2:03 a.m. this morning, Mars moved into Taurus, the planet Mars. Now, why is that a big concern for us? Because Mars. So Mars is an action planet, right? So it likes to move, it likes to have a lot of movement. That's where you get your sports from, your war, your sexuality. We're talking about relationships, right? That's where all that comes from. But when it moves into Taurus, when it moved into Taurus, it slowed it down. So I know you're feeling this pull of maybe I need to take a nap, different things like that. So it's okay that you're feeling this way because Taurus is more of a slower focus, things like that with the planet, um, with the zodiac sign. So it's really making it, slow its momentum down. So instead, when you have Mars and that's like steadfast going, you're not going to be able to do that quickness that you're able to do, that you're normally able to do, which is okay. It's okay to slow it down. Some of the things that I think you should probably do is some focus, right? Pursue some of your goals, but you're going to have perseverance and tenacity when you're doing that because uh, Taurus is slowing down. So, okay, because you may want to take like a nap, right? So while you're taking that nap, you still should have maybe meditation on because it'll help you still get those things that we need to do. It still will help us get that done. So don't be afraid. Don't be, upset or anything like that, that you feel a little bit more lethargic, because that's the way our universe is doing. We can't control that. We just have to kind of embrace it and go with it. On the other hand, Mercury also is moving as well. It moved today at 2:24. So that change also does something to us, because Mercury, that's the planet that rules communication, right? So again, you got to think about the relationships and how that is going to affect how being in Cancer is going to affect your communication. You should have a little bit of short distance travel. That'll help you be able to be more expressive. Now, also Mercury, that it rules with your siblings and the youth. So your children may be a little bit more, I don't want to say this word, but whiny, more expressive in their thoughts, because, being with Cancer, it helps you with your thinking and personal reflection. So it's just better for you to embrace all of these things that's going on. Something with what you can do with when you're feeling this energy from Mercury being in Cancer is just allow yourself to taste and feel, because it's more of an emotion that you're going through, some sounds and smells, and that's in your environment. Just and I think you should record how you feel, because then you're able to be more, reflective with your moods and the things that's going on with that. So I don't want you to be afraid and feel like, oh, I'm gonna be so tired or things like that. It's just that it's some transformative energy that we're feeling, because we were in, Gemini Aries, which is more of a upbeat versus Cancer and Taurus. So it's going to slow us down. It's really okay that you're slowing down. Just take in breaths. You want to do some meditation. If you feel like it's like the period is making, because you have to look at your own personal charts to know how it affects you more than others. So if you feel frenzied, sometimes that happens. Just take a breath. It's always good. Your breathing, it's always good to meditate. It's always good to just slow down. If your area is a little bit warmer, have beautiful beaches and things like that, I suggest you just go sit down and rest. If your body feels like you need to take a nap, I suggest that you do that. You still will get things done. So don't be frustrated during this period. It's going to be about 6 weeks. So don't be frustrated. Just enjoy it, embrace it, and you should get through it. Don't forget to reflect. Okay. Again, Cancer is a water sign. So it's good to go and sit by the water. It's good to be nonverbal sometimes, because it'll help. Just so write things down. It really, really, really will help you. If you need more clarification and you would like for me to check your chart, you can always contact me on Facebook. I am Mecca on Facebook. And you can also reach me by texting me at 708-253-8795. Do not be afraid of this weather, okay? I am Mother Mecca. I'm always mystical, eccentric, calming, creative, and always anointed. So just enjoy it.
Oh, Mother Mecca, Mother Mecca, Mother Mecca. I'm not sure, because really that you said so much in that, right? Because
Yeah.
you talk about, this is a time, we're actually in a kind of a mode of getting things done through Saturn being in retrograde. And now you're telling us that Cancer and Taurus are going to slow us down. I mean, wow, how do we put this all together?
Well, Well, okay. So remember, I was saying you may feel a little frenzied. You have to put it together by really just embracing the slowdown. So
Yeah.
by meditating, by by journaling and breathing.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yes.
Those are three major things that I would suggest that we do. We have, even
Well, and
though
you
we're
also just
Mhm.
suggested being in nature, going by
Oh
water. That's what I
yes.
did today. I love
Oh,
that. Yes.
I love nature. I love being outside. Time is energy. So
Yes.
you have to sometimes it's okay to slow it down, because Taurus is stubborn. So it makes no sense to fight against it and try to say, okay, well, no, I'm gonna push through this, I'm gonna go through this, and I'm gonna make it happen. It's better to just really slow it down and take those
Mm-hmm.
times to manage your time.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
would
I got
suggest
that.
that I would suggest that, to really figure out how it affects you. You can always Google it, look into again, like I said, like look into your chart, look into the things that's going on, around you, because it's going to help you understand it. And journaling.
Yeah.
Today I felt
Yeah.
this way, you know,
Yeah.
um, I really suggest it.
Yeah. I love that deeper introspective time period, though. It's really good for
Mhm.
all of us. I can hear that. All right, Mother Mecca. Thank you. Thank you. We will look forward to hearing from you next week. As always, we appreciate you taking time for us. It makes a difference.
Yes, thank you. And I'll see you next Tuesday.
Okay. All right. Well,
Bye.
everybody, bye bye. You have your marching orders. We are going in. We are taking our naps. We are journaling. We are hanging out in nature, and all inside of a conversation called relationships, right? We're going to start looking at what it means to be in relationship. And you have to look at it from many different perspectives, right? So we're going to start talking to Coach Kim and actually find out, how do we do this work? And this sounds like a perfect time for it, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so now, hey, Coach Kim, you there?
Hey. Hey.
Hey,
Hello.
hello,
Greetings.
how are
Happy
you?
first
Greetings.
Tuesday.
Yes, and thank you
Yes.
for taking time. I appreciate you saying yes to my request. It's such a pleasure.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you for the request.
Yes.
I'm
So why don't
honored.
you start off by I'm honored too. It's always great to share space with you, you know?
Yes.
So just tell us about yourself so people can know why I love you so much.
Well, the first thing I gotta say is Mother Mecca, amazing, first of all. Cheers,
Yeah.
bravo. Now,
Good.
why does she have to bring up Taurus and I'm a Taurus? Lord have mercy. I said, oh, see, you're always in such alignment, but I said,
Girl.
do I need to slow? Do I need to take a dose of my own medicine as a tourist and slow down? I love it. Okay, I just had to
Mm,
say that. That was so interesting, interesting to me. But hello,
yes.
everyone. My name is Coach Kim, and I am a certified life and relationship coach. And I'd like to just keep it very simple and tell you what I do in a nutshell. I teach you how to find yourself before you are found. Now, I got to explain that just a little bit when I say before you are found, because most of us think, oh, a man is finding a woman, or, somebody's finding somebody to marry. That's some of it, but also before you find yourself in a dead end job, right? A dead end friendship, whatever place that you don't want to find yourself in, I think you first got to find yourself so that you'll get on the right track, if that makes sense.
Mm, that makes a lot of
So
sense.
I
And
teach you how to find yourself before you're found. Yeah.
I love that. I remember one of my favorite movies is called August Rush.
Okay.
And there's a question that the question was, what do you want most out of life? And he
Mhm.
said, to be found. And he was an orphan
That's
looking
powerful.
for his parents.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm with you on that. You got to find yourself before somebody else finds.
And isn't that interesting? He wanted to be found because he was an orphan, but how could he be found until he knew his origin, until he knew where he came from?
And he had to do that search first.
He had to do that search first. Wow, that's powerful. See, now I got to go watch the movie.
I watch it so much, Coach Kim. It's ridiculous. I still cry.
That means it's really good. That means it's really good.
Yes. Yes. So then tell me, what led you to become a relationship coach?
You know, I'll have to say this. I do think it came natural to me, but I didn't know it. So I remember many years ago, way before I had even thought about being a life coach, let alone a relationship coach. I had a boyfriend and we'd be in the car driving somewhere and I would ask him different questions. I'd be like, oh, what do you think about this? Or what do you think about that? And one day he just flat out told me, he said, why do you always want to talk about relationships? There's other things to talk about. And I was like, do I do that?
Oh,
I didn't really realize that I liked to talk about relationships, but really that was some of the manifesting of some of my purpose and call, I believe. You know what I mean? To me, I didn't think it was a big deal. I never was even talking about me and his relationship. I just always was curious about perspective.
Yes.
How people showed up in relationships. So that's something I had always had a natural interest in. So I remember though being a part of a branding boot camp. And, you know, they taught us in the branding boot camp, you need to have a focus, clearly, right? You're trying to have a business, you got to have a focus. And so the branding, the person that was over it, she said, why don't you just identify as a relationship coach? And I was like, I don't want to do that. Why? She said, because you're very well versed in relationships.
So you've been asking a lot of questions for a long time.
I know, right? Right. So I began to cry in this boot camp. Can you believe it? I began to cry.
Yes.
She said, why are you crying? I said, because nobody's going to listen to me. I'm a single woman.
Yep.
That's what I said. I'm single.
Right.
Nobody will listen to me. She said, you are called and purposed and gifted. That's not your issue.
Not your issue.
You know, you're not married. Like it's a lot of people that's married that have no idea what they're doing in relationship.
Girl.
You have the answers, you have the formula, you have the key. So that's when I actually got confident in the call, you know, or the purpose. I really believe one of my purposes is to hone in on relationships. So that's how I became a relationship coach.
I love that. And I love the guidance that she offered you because that is so real. It is very real. And most of the time, because you actually do have a natural analytical ability, but you also have a great ability to observe. And this is what most people don't have. And you learn so much by just observing.
You really do.
You don't have to experience everything. You can look over here and see how they're doing that. Then say, oh, okay, I see that. And now you can integrate that into your knowledge base.
Yes. Amen. Amen.
Yeah. So that's so cool. Yeah. So let's actually define relationship for our audience so that they can kind of follow along with what we're going to be talking about.
Okay. So for me, when I define relationship, you know, particularly from a coaching standpoint, it really, to me, is relating to self and relating to others. And like you said, you know, in your opening, it's not just about romantic relationships, right? This is about family, friends, coworkers, things like that. And I feel like it's so deep in so many layers when it comes to relationships, or just talking about relationship. It's hard to take time to really, really dig into all of the layers. But I really do. I really feel like it's really just how you're showing up to yourself and to others. And depending on your level of personal and social competency will determine, you know, the experience of the relationship with self and with others. If it would be a favorable one or one that is mostly a bumpy ride.
Yes, yes. So then what would you mean when you say that the most important relationship is with yourself?
Oh,
How do we look at that?
okay. So, and I don't know why we don't do this, and it's a conditioning. We're kind of not taught this, but
Yes.
yes, the most important relationship is with self. But you really, I think what that looks like is really, really, really getting to know yourself. And we have the way we get to know ourselves is a lot like we get to know other people. So, say if we're in a love relationship, we are spending very intentional time with that other person. We are
Mm-hmm.
asking very intentional questions to that
Mm-hmm.
other person, right? We are paying attention to what they are not saying. We are noticing, they light up every time they talk about chocolate ice cream. They probably like chocolate. Let me go buy that for them, right? It's a lot of awareness and focus,
Y-
right?
yes.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm listening. Yes, I feel like you got something to add. Please add.
No, no, that's exactly right. I love
Okay.
how you did that because
Okay.
we focus,
Yeah.
we just hone in on that other person.
Yes. And you know what? It works, right? It works
Yeah.
because they're happy. We are a part of adding to their happiness. Of course, they should already have that within themselves, but we can add to it, right? So that's wonderful. We just need to take those same techniques and apply it to ourselves when it comes to getting to know ourselves, because that is the only way you can be in true relationship with yourself. Once
Mm.
you have that together, which it's not really a having it together thing, it's a journey, right? It's a journey.
Yes. It's a journey.
Yeah, it's a journey. But once you're clear on that and committed to it, that's when you can choose better, be it career, a lover,
Yes.
friendships. That's when you can start creating boundaries, even with our beloved mothers and fathers and siblings, right?
Mm.
But you can't do
Mm.
any of that if you're not in a healthy relationship with yourself. So this whole, I know it's been trendy. Would you say maybe the last 5, 7 to 10 years about self-love? Yeah, it's trendy and it sounds really cute, but it's really about healthy relationship with self. So it's not about spa days. And
That's
you
right.
know what I mean? I mean, it's
That's
nice to
right.
do those things, but that's not what self-love or self-relationship really looks like.
And we spend in our life coach certification course, we spend an entire week looking at different ways of getting to know ourselves through
Mm,
astrology, the
yep.
destiny cards, the oracle cards. We're looking at all of the ways that our personality is shown through the charts. And to
There.
me, if they would teach that
Mhm.
in kindergarten or something
Yes.
like that, it would make
Yes.
a difference.
It will make a huge difference, because first of all, you're not kind of walking around feeling like you're a weirdo because you're not like everybody else, right?
Exactly.
You would
Exactly.
know I'm actually not supposed to be like everybody else. Actually, we're all unique.
Yep.
And you'd be
Yep.
okay with your uniqueness. I remember when I was getting my certification through Master Force, and just learning so much about my personality. When we had to do that personality type test, I learned that I share my personality type uh, is less than 1% of the population.
Hello.
So, so when it all clicked for me because I said, oh, this is why most people don't get me.
That's
Because
exactly right.
I have a different way of thinking and processing. And then when I looked even deeper into that, and they talked about like with my personality type, I come alive with understanding how people's minds work, right? That makes
Mm.
me feel alive. They said,
Hmm.
but it can come off to other people as if I'm interrogating them. So
Now, wasn't that good to know?
it was because I said, "Oh, well, now I can adjust." Now, okay, because I'm really not. I don't want to interrogate you. I just want to know how your mind works because that makes my makeup makes me feel alive doing that. But it's good to know so that I'm not turning people off. you know? So it's like,
Yes.
okay, I can still get what I want and need and still make them comfortable. These nuances, like you were just explaining, is important to know about self. It's so
It is
important.
so.
And if we started cultivating that with 2 and 3-year-olds, well,
Oh my
then
goodness.
we wouldn't have a lot of the issues. I'll just leave it at that. The issues going on in the world today. And I'll just say that. I'll leave it at that.
I know, because we can do a whole, and we
I know.
eventually will do an
Yes.
entire conversation about children inside
Yes.
of the conversation of
Yes.
relationship, because I think we leave so much to chance when actually
Too
we
much
have
to
these,
chance.
too much to chance. We
Yeah.
have these brilliant young master geniuses,
Yes.
and you know, they literally have come to save us,
Yeah.
and we act like they are, you know, on remote control or something. I don't know, but
Yeah.
that's a whole nother
Crazy.
conversation.
Yes.
So how can you actually uh, determine or tell if someone seems disconnected from themselves?
Yes. Oh, that's a great question. I like that you use the word disconnected, because when I see this in people, I say a man or a woman apart. Right. I feel like that's
Mm-hmm.
how we are. Did you ever see the movie A Man Apart? It starred, well, Lorenz Tate was in it, and is it Vin Diesel? Van Diesel, one of them. But they
No,
starred in
no.
it. It's a
Okay.
great movie, but
Okay.
it's really he went through. I'll just say he went through some life changing, devastating things, and
Mm.
he really was apart from himself. It was like his mind, spirit, emotions were all literally in a different place because of this very horrible, tragic situation that happened. And a lot of time, particularly because my focus is relationships, I noticed that about some people. They kind of they're kind of all over the place. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Just in their thinking, it's like on one hand, I want to do this with this relationship, but then if I do this, this may have. It's just they're kind of spread, right?
Yes.
And
Yes.
I tell them, I said, you're apart, and you need to become whole. You need to put your pieces back together. It's like gathering yourself again, you know. Um,
Mm.
so I think that's one way that I can tell someone is disconnected, or even myself. So we'll use me. When I'm disconnected, I'm highly irritable. I don't have
Mm-hmm.
any patience.
Mm-hmm.
Even with myself, my patience is very thin, even with me. Um, and then the other thing I found out about myself is I can't get peace anywhere. For
Mm, that's
me,
a good one.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
for me personally, peace is the ultimate thing that I need. I need to have peace.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll do anything to try to get to that peace. But when I can't even get there, and this is what I do for a living, right? But
Yes.
even when I sometimes all the tools I have, sometimes it's like we can't help you today, right? But that's when I know I'm disconnected. And
That's
then at
wonderful.
that point, I shut everything down. I shut my phone
Mm-hmm.
down. I'm off of social media. I don't talk to anyone. I have to really center, really, and get back into a relationship with me so I can become whole again.
And I just want to thank you for being authentic about that, because most people think that if you are a coach of any kind, that you're supposed to be 100% on. You
Mm,
know, like when I reach out for you, you're supposed to be ready to answer the phone and tell me exactly what I need to hear and right now. And it's
yes,
not true,
that's
because
not.
we're also having our own human experience.
Yes, thank
And
you.
so I may be going through whatever life changes I'm going through in that
Mhm,
moment. And the best thing that I could do is to check myself and
mhm.
make sure that I'm good before I offer you anything. And
Yes.
that's what makes it, you know, I see people and say, why are you even coaching somebody and your whole life is in disarray? You
See,
know, that's not a coaching, is not an escape.
it's not.
It's not an escape. No, the whole
You're right.
idea is for us to be examples of the work that we do and the tools that we have, so
Mhm,
that other people can not just learn from what we're saying, but
mhm,
also observe how we're being, if that makes
mhm.
sense.
It does make sense. I agree.
So
Yeah.
yeah, but thanks for saying that. I want people to realize that it's real. This is a real life we're living.
You know what? I would say it may be harder for us, and
Mm-hmm.
that it can be frustrating because you do have tools, techniques, certifications, all kind of things. And there are some times when your experience is so human that you can't pull from that in that moment, right?
Nope. Nope.
You
That's
know,
right.
and
Mm-hmm.
that is a big part of myself that I had to accept.
Yep.
I had to accept that. I had to be like, you know what? There are going to be some times when, girl, you are not on, but be
And guess
aware.
what? That's
Yeah.
right.
Mm-hmm.
That's what Mother Mecca was saying today.
Yes.
Sometimes it's it's to be still, to be
That's right.
silent, to be
Yes.
quiet.
Yes.
Okay, because the
There
universe
you
is
go.
doing some work with you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. So
Yes.
your tools ain't gonna make no difference for me.
Because it ain't even about that at that point, you know.
Nope.
And that's what I do. I get real quiet. Spend a lot of time with me. Like she was talking about, if you're sleeping, put something on that you can meditate to, or that can get into
Mm,
your psyche and things like that.
that's
Um,
right.
yeah, to help you through that process, because you're going to go through that process. Well, like you were saying earlier, it's best that you give in to the
Yep.
process and not fight it, because if you try to fight it, well, that's a whole other story.
That's a whole nother story.
Yes.
Okay, so we've looked at, the importance of people having a relationship with themselves, right? And then
Yes.
what it looks like to be disconnected.
Hmm.
What can people do to actually have a deeper relationship with themselves?
Yeah. This is what I love about these conversations, because we don't just give answers, we give the solution, which is a
Yeah,
formula. It's
it's a
how
formula.
you get to the answer, not an answer, but
Hmm.
how you get to it. Because that really, really matters. That really matters. The first thing I have three things I want to point out with this question in particular. First thing is to become extremely present. So this is what I mean when I say that. I remember this was just really just a few months ago. I would watch something on TV. Okay, I'd watch a TV show or a movie, and then later I would talk to my mom about it, or my dad, or other people, and we talk about the movie or show, and they was telling me all of these things that happened that I didn't see. I'm like, did that happen? Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't see that. Really? I would say that. And then I would have to go back and watch it all over again, right? And then I still would kind of miss some parts. So it would be like 3, 4 times of me watching the same thing to see everything, right? So it really made me stop. Kim, why are you missing out on certain parts of movies and shows and all of that? And what I found was that I'm on my phone a lot, right? I'll have a show
Mm.
on, but I'm on my phone. I'm scrolling, I'm on social media. I am distracted.
Yep.
Distracted. I
Yep.
am not present. I believe that how we do one thing is how we do everything. So
Yes, ma'am.
then I had to start looking at my life. Wait, Kim, what's distracting you from being present?
Mm.
So many things. And listen, I'm a single woman. I'm alone a lot, but I was not with myself, right? I was by
Ooh.
myself, but not with myself.
Oh, that's deep. That's deep. I
Yeah,
love that insight. Yes,
yeah,
yes.
because I was distracted. I'm moving. I'm
Mm.
doing something all the time, doing something. But I've
So wait,
learned
you were
that.
by yourself. You were by yourself,
Yes,
but not with yourself. I
yes,
love it. Yes, yes.
yes,
Mm.
and
Hmm.
and that's and I learned that through TV. I'm like,
Yep.
oh, you have a movie on, but you're not watching it. You're on your
Mm.
phone. You're skipping from one social media platform to the next. You're checking emails. You're doing this, da, 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 and then you'll go back and look a little bit more at the show, and then you go, but you can't do that. So that's one way, one technique to really get deeper into relationship with self. You got to be present. I mean, to the point, there are some times when I'm in my car. I think another thing too is always to be grateful, right? I think gratefulness helps you be very, very aware of what you have. So sometimes I'm in my car and I say, engine, thank you for always running. Right. And you know what? For the people that manufactured this and put this together, thank you for your skill set.
Yes.
Tires, you keep this car up. You always protect me. Tires, I appreciate you. Like, I literally say these things out of my mouth, and it helps me to get very present and grateful.
Yes. Yes.
This is one of the ways we can get deeper, you know, into knowing ourselves and relationship with ourselves. The second one, which I know this is one that you love, journal.
Yes, journal. Yes.
It's a safe space. It's a non-judgmental zone, I believe. And it's a place that you can be authentic. I believe that's how I am with journaling. A lot of the information and answers I find when I journal.
Right.
How interesting.
Wow.
Have you experienced that?
Yes.
I'm sure.
It's so interesting because part of journaling is emptying your mind so that more things can show up.
Yes.
Well, if we always have stuff in there, you know, if we always just so busy or have the TV on all the time, a noise in the background, there's always just you again, that's being by yourself, but you're not with yourself.
Yes.
Your mind is just cluttered with a lot of noise. And so journaling is an opportunity to write down. And I remember having so much resistance when I was younger about journaling. And when I had to go back and resolve that, I saw that what it was is that I had a nosy sister who read my journal, so I didn't feel like it was a safe space.
Yes.
So I quit journaling for a large period of time. And now that I live alone, you know, I got about 5 active journals going on.
Yeah. See, that's powerful that you said that, because I've had a few of my clients say that to me. They have a really hard time journaling. And I'm like, you know, why? Let's get to the bottom of this. And I know we'll get into this about, you know, childhood things. But what a few of them have said to me is really what you said. They said, well, somebody found my journal in the house, you know, a sibling or something, found my journal and information got out, right? But these people they not only live alone, they've lived alone for like 20 years. But that trauma of that hasn't left them. And therefore, they still have a fear almost of journaling. And this is why we got to resolve that. Like you just said, when I went back and resolved, I'm like, oh, this is why I didn't want to do that. But that's not my reality anymore.
That's not my reality. No.
So I don't have to live there. Ooh,
yeah. And then another part that's not my reality is no one can hurt me without my permission. Period. So I don't care if they found my journal and I said whatever I said. They can't hurt me without my permission, right? So yeah, I'm not worried about it. That's what gave me the freedom to speak openly. Okay, because you can't hurt me unless I say, hey, you know, no, you're not welcome here. Right? Hurt is not welcome here. Exactly. So okay, so you have one more.
I'm taking notes, FYI, right? Because this is powerful, right? I know you can't see me, but
I'm taking notes too. That's how we do.
Yes, this is so good. Yeah. So that journaling, and then the third point being honoring and appreciating yourself and your uniqueness. I find myself a lot telling people that nothing is wrong with them.
Yes.
Because a lot of times they think something is. Because it's them being who they are, but their conditioning says you should be someone else, you know? So I think one way to get deeper into relationship with self is to honor, be aware of your accomplishments or who you are, or how beautiful your uniqueness is.
Girl, had I known I was a fire rooster, queen spade bee when I was growing up, Oh my goodness. Obviously this was the path because
Yes.
I probably would be somebody who would not be caring about the people.
Mm-hmm.
But I do care about the people. So
Yes.
this is why I had to come this way, right?
Yes.
So when I did find out about that, it made a huge difference for
Oh,
me. Like you said, everybody's unique.
mm-hmm.
And then I got to see why I never fit in. I don't fit in. I'm not supposed to fit in.
Supposed to.
There's nobody that fit with me like me?
Yes. Yes. And it's beautiful. It's not a
It's a
bad
beautiful
thing.
thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
those are the ways I believe that tools people can use to
Yeah.
deepen
But
the
I love the whole gratitude thing about the car. I
You
love
like
that
that?
because
Okay. Yeah.
I do. I
Yeah.
remember being in the car with one of our coaches, each of this had to be about 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And we had went downtown for something and we drove and we got in the car and the car didn't start. And then we said, oh, let us send some love and light to the car.
Mm-hmm.
And we did. We
Mm-hmm.
just sent love and light to the car, touched the
Mm-hmm.
dashboard, just sent love and light, did a little bit of BTC, breathing,
Yes.
to
Yep.
center.
Yep.
Do you know the car started? We looked at each other and said, oh, we got that juice.
And because everything is energy.
Everything is
Everything is.
energy.
Yeah. So we send that energy to that. It'll
Yep.
it'll it'll just it's like oiling the Tin Man. Now it
Okay.
can function like it was
Yeah.
supposed to because it's getting what it needed.
And after that, I started realizing all of the, even with computers, and this was from my IT days. I remember
Mm-hmm.
telling people, when you touch a computer, don't be complaining about it. You hate it and all that, because it can
Mm-hmm.
feel all of that. You got to
Yeah.
love on your computer,
Yes.
and it receives your information and then it saves it, but you don't love on it. You might be losing some things today.
You know what? This is giving me an answer. The listeners got to know this. It's simple things we know, but we forget, and then we do it, and we're
Yeah.
like, "Oh yeah, that works." I had a situation with my bathtub. For
Mhm.
some reason, it was like it wasn't draining. It was not draining well. It wasn't working well, even or working correctly. Even though I used Drano, I did all this stuff. It would be okay for like a day, and then it would just it was slow to drain, and then it would leave all this backup stuff, right? I'm like,
Ooh.
what is wrong with this darn tub? Like, what is going on with it? Okay, fine. So there was a lot of mold around the tub. Okay, just you can
Hmm.
see mold. So I found a hack on YouTube where they're like, douse your cotton cotton balls with bleach and put it around the tub where the mold is. Let it sit for a day, and then it'll be off the next day. Right? Okay. So I did it.
Okay.
It worked. Okay. I mean, all the mold was gone when I moved those bleach filled cotton.
Oh,
All of it
yes.
was gone. Right? Do you know when I ran the water, I took a sitz bath and a shower. Do you know that water drained out just as normal?
Oh, it was saying, please give me some tender loving care.
Yes, it was saying, love me, treat me like I'm
Yes.
like just with you, just giving me the examples of your experiences. I'm like,
Yep.
oh my God, that's all I needed to do.
That's
It
all
works.
you needed to
It
do.
works.
And that's exactly how I do my little humble abode. When I walk in, I be so in love, like, oh hey, hi, I'm home.
Yes.
Hello. When I get my bed, hey, my beautiful bed. Thank you for
Yes.
hugging me. You know,
Yes. It's
that
real.
gratitude it's real. It goes a
Yeah,
long way.
it does. I agree. Wow. Wow.
So now, you touched on this a little bit and you spoke to it, but we have a whole lot of information
Mm-hmm.
about taking care of ourselves. But a lot of us don't realize that we have to heal the wounds from our childhood and from our parents before
Ooh,
we can really begin to appreciate our own journey. So,
yeah.
why is it necessary to heal the wounds that we have with our parents?
Uh, for so many reasons. One, I'm thinking it's important because it will not only free us, but it will free them as well.
Yes.
Because I really do believe that sometimes we hold our parents hostage.
We hold our parents hostage. You better say
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and they aren't even aware of some of the
Mm-hmm.
pains, devastations their choices has put on us. They don't even know. We just holding
Yep.
them hostage. Like, you
Yep.
know what I mean? So I think it's important to heal that because it'll set us free and them free. And then we have to realize too, they are our earth's first relationship. Our earthly first
Yeah.
relationship is with our parents.
Yep.
And sometimes because of their decision making, the experience has made us maybe sometimes confused, devastated us in some ways, not kind of dismissing ourselves. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Again, because they didn't have that social competence and that personal competence. Their intention is to raise us to be, safe and all of that, right? But
Right.
again, because of a lot of things that they weren't aware of, they didn't know, hey, this decision you're about to make is really about to hurt your children. That's not
Mm.
what you're setting out to do, but it's going to hurt them, right? So I feel like if we give ourselves the opportunity to heal that, which we need to do, that's when we can kind of breathe better, and hear our parents' viewpoint. Allow them to be human,
Yeah.
to say,
Yeah.
for us to look. I saw a picture of my mom. She was a little girl. I never saw this picture. I just saw it like the first time last year. She's a little
Mm.
girl with this long peppermint stick.
Oh,
And she's making
yes.
this funny face, right? And somebody captured a picture of her. My mom was maybe 6 or 7 in this picture.
Mm-hmm.
When I saw
Mm-hmm.
that picture, I said, oh my goodness, my mother was a person before she was my mom. It
She was
made
a
me,
person before she was
yeah,
your mom. How
it
about
made
that?
me see her not different, but added. It added more to who
Yes.
I saw her or see her as. And I'm like, okay, she had ideologies, experiences, perceptions, hurt,
Mm-hmm.
laughter, all these things before she ever became my mom. So she's more than my mom. This is a
She's more
whole
than your mother.
person.
That's right. That's
And
right.
and that things like that, when we are healing those pains or traumas from childhood with our parents, we get to see that. I think that's
Mm-hmm.
very important for us to do. That's what I
Yeah,
think.
it's because we get to have compassion
Yes,
for who
that's
they are as the person, and we
yes.
get to see, oh, they're growing in life just like we are. They haven't reached a certain plateau yet. They're getting just as much from us, which
Yeah.
they are, right? We get
Hmm.
more information from our children if we're listening,
Yeah.
right? And
Yep.
what the parents are giving. Yeah,
Mhm.
that's beautiful. Oh,
Yeah.
I bet you when you saw her, you just gave her a big old hug, just hugging that little
Yeah.
girl and her.
Yes, and it's something because anybody that knows me knows am very close to my mother. But
Mm-hmm.
I needed to. I don't know how or who sent me that picture because she didn't send it to me. Somebody
Right.
sent me that picture. I don't remember who it was, but yeah, it was. And I every time I see my mom, I hug her, or if I'm just in the house with her, I just randomly go up to her and hug her because I just love my mom so much. I'm like that with her. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, after seeing that picture, the hug is different.
The hug is deeper, baby.
It's
That's
just
right.
like, yeah, it's yes,
Mm-hmm.
yes.
Oh,
So yeah,
yeah.
that's why
I
that thing
I
is
was.
important.
You
Mhm.
just made me. I'm sorry.
Mhm.
What
I'm
were you
listening.
saying? Yeah.
No,
I
I'm
was.
listening. I'm listening. Mhm.
Well, it made me think about Eckhart Tolle's book, The New Earth,
Mhm.
and he talks about the importance of parents not getting stuck in the role of parent
Mm-hmm.
so that you can actually have more experience in life
Ooh.
of your own growth,
Ooh.
right? Because
Ooh. That's powerful.
parent can be an authority, right? And
Yes.
so if we always stay in this authoritative mode, you
Mm.
know, then
Mhm.
we actually don't have room to receive. So, you
Ooh.
know, from young people, you know,
Oh,
it's just
that's
like you
powerful.
do, right? You do what I tell you to do, and that's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
And you can see relationships that have been like that. However, when parents have been able to allow themselves to just be themselves, in other words, okay, right now I'm myself, I'm not necessarily parent, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh.
then they can actually venture off into some different. So I think that goes both ways, but you know, because everybody has been wounded in some one
So true.
one fashion or yeah, one
Yeah.
way or another. So you
Yeah.
know, being able to address the wounds and
Yes.
work through them, you know, has us be more appreciative of the people that are raising us.
Ooh, that is powerful. Okay, another book
Hmm.
I'm gonna need to read. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, actually love Eckhart Tolle. He just yeah he gets it right.
Yeah. Oh, wow, that's powerful. Okay.
Now here's the opposite of that.
Yeah.
What does it look like when we refuse to do the work to mend our
Yeah.
broken inner child? Because there are people
I.
who just like, yeah, my family is fine. I
Yeah.
didn't have no problem. I love my mama. I love my daddy. I had the perfect childhood, you know.
Yeah.
And it's like I'm not saying you didn't have a perfect childhood, because you probably did. However,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
It's something.
Do
Yeah.
you meet those people
You know, they're around us every day.
every day,
We see them from the celebrity to the news anchor to the coworker
girl?
to the.
Yep.
It's a lot of people, but a lot of times one of the many ways I see it manifested is dismissiveness of self, a complete.
Mm,
So this is what I mean. um there are some kids that, their parent may have been ill physically or mentally or on drugs or something like that, where the child really had to become parent, to like
yes.
their siblings, right?
Yes.
And they
Hmm.
had to do all of these things. So who had time to be a kid? They didn't have time to be a kid. They
Hmm.
couldn't. They were being parent. And I'm putting up air quotes because we know a kid can't be a parent, but they're taking
Right.
on this role that's way too massive for them. Their heart, mind, spirit, body, emotions is not ready for that level. But they learn very early to dismiss themselves as a kid. They can't be
Yes.
a kid. So when they become adults and they have not handled that part or confronted that part of themselves, I notice a big dismissiveness, as in like their own needs. They have a big, big need to do for everybody else. They have to
Hmm.
prioritize everybody else because they're so conditioned to do nothing for themselves or take care of
Hmm.
themselves. It has to be for everybody else. So I see that a lot, with adults who dealt with things like that as kids. Yeah, they're very dismissive of themselves. And the funny part is, these are very strong people. They present very strong, very successful. So these are
Yeah.
not downtrodden, people. But when you really get to talk to them, you're like, oh my gosh, you don't think anything of yourself at all.
Girl, you talking about me. The difference is that I started doing the work
Yes,
early. But
of course.
I'm telling you,
Yeah.
that whole dismissive of myself, and it wasn't so much, well,
Mhm.
my mother was put in a mental institution, right? When I was
Yes.
5.
Yes.
So there was nobody looking out for me.
Yes.
You know, so it was kind of like,
Especially your mom. Oh, geez.
especially, you know, if you don't have your mom, you know,
Oh,
we'll make sure you eat, or dad. I didn't have a mom or dad. So
yeah.
it was inside of, you know,
Hmm.
either you fend for yourself, and at 5, you don't know what that looks like,
Hmm.
right? So you
Yep.
kind
No,
of
you
make
don't.
do. But, you know, I remember reading, again, I love how the universe always dropped books on me, right? M.
Yeah.
Scott Peck's book, The Road Less Traveled.
Okay.
And he talked about the neurosis that you're speaking of, how you
Mm.
feel
Yeah.
over responsible
Yes.
for things in the world. And I noticed that
Mm.
every time something happened,
Mhm.
I felt responsible.
Mm.
Responsible, almost guilty, whether I did it or not.
Yeah.
Like somebody would walk in the house and say, "Who left this right here?" And I didn't leave it, but I felt responsible, or like I was going to be blamed for it, or like I need to take care of it.
Yes.
And so I had this huge sense of order, right? Just
Mhm.
over expressed, right?
Mhm.
And listen, when I got to be 40, I was like, I'm done with taking care of anybody, everybody. I walked away from corporate America like, I'm fine.
Yes.
I ain't doing nothing.
I'm
I
out of
say
here.
I'm not taking responsibility. And people used to look at me and like, well, you gotta be an adult. No, I don't. No, I don't.
You said I've been doing this long enough before time, so I'm good.
Before.
You can take it.
Listen, Kim, I had to give myself permission to
Yeah.
back up. And it's like if the world is gonna fail and things are gonna fall down around me, I'm gonna let it happen. I'm gonna let it happen
Come
because
on.
I'm not responsible for
Come
it.
on.
Now, and then I'm gonna look and be responsible for what? This person right here.
Yep.
You know, and
Yep.
then it kind of all, came together. But I was grateful that the universe gave me the opportunity to do that,
Yes.
to just like,
Thank God.
so I can get some balance inside of that. Like, no, I
Yeah.
can say no just as quick as I can say yes. And
Yes.
I'm grateful
Okay.
for that.
Yes. Yep. But it has to be our choice.
Yes.
Genuinely. I'm doing this because I want to, not because I feel like your life is going to fall apart if I don't do it. No,
Hmm.
doing it because I want to.
And a lot of people don't realize that broken inner child is what's keeping them out of those relationships,
You
the
just
ones
don't.
that they want, or keeping them away from their parents, or keeping them away
Yeah.
from their siblings.
Yes.
You got to do that work. You have to embrace that because there is no such thing as perfect. None of us
No.
have to be perfect to be loved.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, I love that.
And
That's so
yeah.
true. We don't have to be perfect to
Mm.
be loved. Okay.
We don't have to
No,
be
that's
perfect to be loved. And when
wow.
people try to act like, oh, you that, yeah, let me give you all my faults before we even start this, because I can tell you I got a ton of them, right? And if you can't love all that, you can forget about the good stuff because that's even 10 times.
Okay. I love it. Yes.
Oh, before we go to the next question, let people know that we are talking on WVRO Soul. This is Master Force Radio. Yes, it is. And this is First Tuesday, where we are talking about, it's all about relationships. And we are having a great conversation with Coach Kim, where we are just looking at what is a relationship. We're looking at different aspects. So I hope you have your pen and paper ready because we've been having a really thorough overstanding for ourselves and finding out some good stuff, to help everybody. And if you heard, Kip and I are both taking notes, okay?
Yes. Absolutely. Yes.
Okay, so now
Mhm.
let's see. What are a few signs that could indicate that we may be out of sync with our inner child since we started on that
Oh,
one?
that's good.
Hmm.
Okay. This may sound funny. One of the things though, I feel, and I know this is probably bad to say, but I'm all I can think of is tantrum, right? Tantrum.
Tantrums,
Yes.
girl.
Yes.
And tantrums can look really different with adults, can't
They look very different with adults, but
they?
it's
Hmm.
still a tantrum. And again, I feel like when you are dismissing, or like you said, out of sync with your inner child, that's one of the signs. You throw these tantrums, right? And when I think about a child throwing a tantrum, it's one thing for them to have a one-off situation, because it could be chemicals, hormone change, whatever, right? That might happen once. But when they do this stuff all the time, there is a parent that is not checking that and help. And when I say checking it, I just mean to put that energy where it needs to be. Like, why are we throwing tantrums? Why are we falling out in the middle of the store? Now, I'm gonna be honest, I could never do that stuff for my mom. Okay. So
she wasn't gonna let you fall out in the middle of the store.
No. You know why I couldn't do it at the store? Because I couldn't do it at home.
Yes.
She didn't play that. Right. But so I when I see adults do that, I'm like, yeah, you out of sync. You ain't respect. There is something about the inner child in you that needs some attention. You need to acknowledge him or her. Something. You got to acknowledge that she or he is still there, that they're always with you, and they have to be acknowledged.
Yes.
I have my clients literally write letters to their child self.
Oh, that's great. Yes, I love that.
Yeah, and they as their age now is having conversations with their child self, and child self has a conversation with them too.
Yes.
Yes, I have them do that because we do have to be in sync with that, and a lot of us aren't in sync with our inner child. You know, I also think when we're not in sync, we are looking for that perfection, kind of what we was talking about before. I have to do everything right. I have to look this way. I have to present this way, because if I don't, I'm getting in trouble. Right? I think that's also a disconnect with the inner child. Yeah. Yeah, I think those are some just obvious indications that we're out of sync.
You know, I want to speak a little bit deeper about tantrums, because with adults, tantrums is not laying on the floor, kicking your legs and screaming. It's like hollering, you know, going off on somebody, you know, throwing things, you know,
shooting a person,
stuff,
strangling a person,
somebody, slapping somebody, all that, you know, hanging up. You know, and it gets to be a point where if you are a certain age and that's the way that you're acting, people do not trust you as a reasonable person.
Thank you.
Like, how do I talk to you, right? How do I get you to actually share a viewpoint, and not that we even have to agree? We can disagree, but you can't hear what I'm saying at all. That's
then there's a breakdown in communication, because what you just described is basic conversation. Like you said, we don't have to agree, but we're respecting each other enough to hear the other person. But as you said, those tantrums, how they come out as an adult, which I have had to come to grips with myself. And I saw it. Where did it rear its ugly head? In my love relationships is where it reared its head.
Oh,
and I would get very angry, and you know, I'm very I mean, I know all things are energy, but I'm very energy based, in that my energy is very, very strong. So I don't have to say anything, but my energy is overwhelming. So it'll be very loving, and you're gonna feel it. It's not going to be my words. It's going to be you feel it. But when I got a problem with a person, they feel that. They can feel it.
Yes.
I don't have to say anything, right? So it wasn't until I kind of started paying attention to myself and how I would react to certain things that my then boyfriends would be doing. And then I take inventory. I'd be like, well, you overreacted, girl. That's an adult. You can't talk to grown people like that. And what he did really wasn't even bad, girl. He didn't even know. Like he wasn't even aware, or he made a mistake. Like it was a mistake. See, that's how them tantrums.
That tantrum. And the automatic tantrum that we have as adults is to withhold. In other words, I'm not playing with you. I'm not loving you. I'm not calling you. You can't call me. I ain't doing nothing for you. You know, the withhold. Instead of being like, okay, we got an issue here. At some point, we can talk about it. It may not be the time to talk about it right now because it's not urgent, you know. And let me calm down so I can have a different perspective that I can get the other person to hear me. Right? Different perspective.
I'm stuck on that withhold because that's the gift, and it's not a gift, but I'm saying this to kind of joke but be serious. The gift I have to cut a person off is darn near scary. I can literally behave like they don't even exist, and it could have been the person I was in love with. And I would tell, and this is what I would tell like my friends. I would say, girl, I be crying all the time. I miss him, but he'll never know. That's a tantrum. That's a tantrum.
That's a tantrum.
Why would you do that? That's not natural. That's not natural. Look, we were intimate. We loved each other. And maybe there's a demise or whatever. Something happened that where there's a rift or something. But it's really odd to act like they were not a significant part of my life.
Wow.
Like, that's not natural. And as you said, though, but it kind of goes back to our rearing when you said earlier how sometimes we treat kids like they're like we can remote control them, like they're robots.
Yes. Yep.
So quite possibly, look, I feel like I'm getting a whole life coaching session right now. Client right now.
That's the idea, baby. That's the idea.
But it's kind of like my rearing helped me to be like a robot. Therefore, I can almost cut it off like it's no feelings, but it is feelings, but I don't want them to know. And I remember conversing with a guy that I used to date when I was really young, and we're, good, and we're in our 40s now. And I told him how I felt about him, and he said, wow, that's really nice to know, because I thought you hated me.
He thought you hated him?
Yeah. I said, why would you think that? He said, Kim, you literally acted like you never knew me. Like I didn't exist. So like there were times I tried to reach out to you and you wouldn't say anything to me, or we would be in the same place and I would speak to you and you said nothing. So no, I didn't know that during that time you were just really, really hurt and you actually really loved me. So thank you for sharing that now. And we don't want to do people like that. Even if we're not together anymore, we don't want to make people feel like they don't exist to us. This is why relationship with self, we kind of have to go back to that always, right? That's always the beginning and foundation, because we have to be aware of ourselves so that we know how other people are experiencing us.
That's right. Well, I like what you said about the automated reactions, because we really, that robotic, we're taught to just do what we're told, right? So you don't check in with yourself. You don't see how you feel. It's just like, I just follow the rules. You tell me what to do, I'm going to just do it. Yeah. When actually, that's not being true to yourself.
It's not.
Just because somebody says to do something doesn't mean to do it. Sometimes you have to check with yourself and see, oh, does this work for me? And then when it doesn't work for you, it doesn't mean that now the other person becomes your enemy.
Right. No.
Right? The other person is still a part of you. It's just that, oh, this situation doesn't work. So let's talk about it. What's the workability that we can establish? Or we can choose not to establish.
Yes.
Yeah, but to just say, okay, yeah, and people be like, oh, she cold-blooded. No, you are unaware. You're not in touch.
Throwing a tantrum.
He's throwing a tantrum.
You're an adult acting like an undisciplined, emotionally unstable 3-year-old.
Yep. Come on.
And that's
a 3-year-old.
Really odd.
That's
for
right.
A 40-something plus year-old to act like.
and if people look back, that situation probably started when you were 3 years old.
Literally, yeah. Yep, you're right. You're right. Agreed.
That's really great.
Yeah.
So now, why is it healthy to not be in an intimate relationship with others sometimes.
Okay, so do you mean like a sexual?
Like a romantic, yeah, like people being, every time I turn around, people are talking about, oh, I need to find me, a boyfriend. I need to find me a girlfriend. I need to get married. I need to move in with somebody. And, and I'm looking at this person saying, no, you really don't. There's some other things that you really can't focus on right now. Not that though. Okay.
I got
so,
yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. Cause I when I saw the question, I was thinking, I don't know if I understood the ask, but I understand now. Yeah. Oh, Jesus. Well, you really said it, if you're not ready.
But most people think they are ready. Most people really do believe that the perfect person is right there waiting for them to just show up, when they don't realize that that perfect person can show up for you, but you would destroy them.
Yeah, you would destroy them, or along with that, you wouldn't see or recognize them because your vision is distorted. So you think, like you just said, you think you're ready, but no, you're broken. Your vision is broken.
Your vision is broken.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's so, like you said, hey, before you thinking about even considering getting into a relationship, I'll just even say this. It's like, do you know what you want? Do you know I've literally asked that to women who want relationships? Not no men too, but I'm just saying particularly women. Hey, okay, I want to be married. Everybody want to be married. Okay. Well, what do you want? What do you need in this relationship? How do you need this man to show up in this relationship or marriage? Do you know 99.9% of them are stuck at that question? They're stuck. They say, wait, I never thought about that. Well then, baby, how you ready to be married? You don't even know what you want or need. So you're not ready. You're not ready. It's things like that. So it's like, you're the worst person to get in a relationship, be in a relationship with, because you are unaware. So now the person don't know how to love on you in the way you interpret love. They don't know what you like. None of that, because you don't know how to express it, because you haven't even thought about it. Like that's one piece, and it's small, but it's huge. So it's like, so you're not ready. You're not ready. This would be the worst time for you to enter into an intimate relationship. This is why you don't need to do it.
You don't need to.
Yeah. And then I think too, how do I say this?
You just say it.
Just say it. Yeah, I yes. I'm on the platform. I can do that. Thinking more highly of yourself than you should. So let me say this. I believe we all should think highly and well of ourselves. I believe that. However, if I'm the person that I'm just emotionally unstable, I'll just say that. Say I'm really, or I throw tantrums, right? I'm not aware of any of my triggers.
Right.
But I expect that a emotionally stable, solid man and or woman is going to want me and all my mess. That's asinine. That's not real. You cannot sit and pray enough, fast enough, sage enough. No, they're never coming to you. You're not ready. You don't deserve that person. I know, and I know people don't like hearing that people don't deserve certain people, but some of them don't. Some people are so messed up and so toxic. They don't deserve a loving, stable, non-toxic person. That is my belief.
Yeah, I can hear all of that, because I meet people who are so special that they think they're the only special person. And it's like, baby, everybody is special. Are you kidding me? Now you think you special, okay? what kind of, you know, it's like, no,
Yes.
everybody
Thank you.
has such a huge contribution
Yeah.
to the planet and to us when we
Yes.
meet them.
Yeah.
You know, so when you think that, I like what you said, when you're thinking more highly of yourself than you should, you know, you meet people, you know, yeah, you should want me, you know, and it's like,
Yeah.
you know, but
But
you
why?
said a good question. But yeah, do you know what you want? You know, me wanting you is not gonna make any difference if
Mm.
you don't know what you want.
Th-
You hear
And
that?
yes, I love it. And I agree. I remember conversing with someone, they're married, and it was a gentleman. And
Yes.
he was telling me, oh, I told my wife, do you know how many women wish they could have me and you have me and you're not really appreciative? And my question to him was, well, why would any woman want you though? You say a lot of women want you for what?
Uh-huh.
Why?
For what? Mm-hmm.
And he couldn't tell me. Right. I'm like, that's delusion. That's I don't know what
That's
that
the
is
lose.
you talking,
Yes.
but that ain't
Mm-hmm.
you being cute means nothing to a 40 plus
No.
year old woman.
No. That's
She's
only
like,
cool when you're in your 20s, right?
that's cute when you're
How
in your
fine you
20s.
are.
But
Yeah.
when you get to 40 plus, yeah,
Mm-mm.
that's why I said you told your wife all these women want you. Okay, well, what do they want about you? Because the things that I know of you, I mean, you're nice, but I don't, you're not emotionally stable. You think you know everything, so you don't listen to anybody else and them telling you what they need. So, and this wasn't a client, this was my friend. But I was
Yes.
telling him, like, child, what you mean all these women want you? No, they don't. That's the delusion, thinking more highly of yourself than you should.
Yeah. And then some people, you know, wanting you is not you
Oh.
that they want. They just don't want to deal with their aloneness or their loneliness or being by themselves, or they need an escort, or they want somebody to hang out with.
Woo.
So anybody can feel that shoe. It's not you particular.
See, now I wasn't trying to step on the toes, but we're
I'm
gonna just
just
step on.
saying, Carrie,
It's the
Coach
truth.
Kim, people be cracking me. I'm telling you,
You
it's
telling
like
the truth. You telling the
you're not
truth.
even connected to this person.
Come
They
on.
want you to fill this little spot here,
That's it.
you know. And then once
Yeah.
the spot is filled, if you don't really get it for them, you just get kicked to the curb.
Because
You
like
know,
you
because
said,
anybody can take that spot. Yeah,
it's a placeholder. Yes, it's like a
it's a
placeholder.
placeholder.
You put
Yeah.
anything in a placeholder. Oh, that's so powerful. Like you said, it's not even really you they want. It could be
Mm-hmm.
you or anybody else. I just
Yep.
need this spot filled right now. Yeah. Reasons
Yeah.
why some people they ain't ready to be in an intimate.
Yeah, and why it's healthy to not be in a relationship. Like it's okay to allow yourself to
Yep.
fully engage with yourself in the world. Really see how you are in other relationships.
Yeah.
Are you in a loving relationship with your parents and your
Yes.
siblings and your children and your coworkers? If you're having any distraught in those relationships, this is
Mm-hmm.
giving you a preview
Mm-hmm.
of how you are in a intimate or loving or romantic relationship. You get a cue. You get to see, oh, okay,
You
am
know
I
what?
argumentative? Yeah,
Yeah.
you're argumentative. So guess what you're gonna do as soon as things get tight in that love?
How
You
we do
know,
one thing is how we do everything. So
you
yeah,
bringing it
that's
right
how.
with you. So you
Ooh.
got to develop some skills. And that's why, I tell people to spend as much time as you can alone and the allow it to show up. The universe is preparing that someone for you.
Mm-hmm.
And if you rush it, you miss the opportunity to get ready for it.
Ooh, and yes, and so it really sounds like you're talking about how important relationship with self is.
How
Once
important?
again,
Yes, it
I,
is. It goes back to our first question.
yeah,
That's right.
wow, that's
That
powerful.
relationship with self.
Yeah.
Now, one of the challenges that I run into in a lot of the people that I coach is
Mhm.
is the conversation of codependency.
Oh God,
And people think that relationships are about being up under your partner, being with your partner. We got to do everything together. And a lot of times that forms this unhealthy attachment. So when you have unhealthy attachments, neither person can grow to their highest of potential, which is the purpose of any relationship that the universe presents to us, is to have us grow. You know, and they're giving us people, this person is going to support you in your growth. But if you're not going to allow them to grow and you're stifling, right? So that codependency, you know, gets crazy. So, you know, why does codependency, what does it have to do with unhealthy attachments?
Oh God, everything.
Okay.
I know what codependency is, right? But I said, you know what? Have I ever looked up the definition? Let me look up the definition. So I did. And you know, there are a few, but this one really stuck out to me. And it said mutually dependent, especially of an unhealthy psychological relationship in which one person perpetuates another's addiction or harmful behavior.
Ooh, so it perpetuates another's addiction or harmful behavior.
Yes. So I said, when I read that, you know what I said? Oh, okay. So essentially, you have a cheerleader for your bad behavior.
You have a cheerleader for your bad behavior. Hello?
Yes. And you're doing that for them.
Yep.
Yeah. So this behavior ultimately keeps us stuck in our unhealthy way of thinking and being, just like you just said, we can't grow. This has to be so cancerous to relationships. And I have seen it. And it's funny because everyone else sees it, but the two people in the relationship.
But the two people in it,
oh my God.
Okay, they can't see it.
It's so concerning.
See it, it's very concerning. You know, and I have to bring up this book because he spoke about it so well in The People of the Lie by M. Scott Peck. He wrote about how you can have, you know, the people who come together, and because they are codependent, they literally feed off of each other's evil.
Yes.
Okay. And then they become evil and they form this partnership and they start destroying people around them because they kind of build up, you know, they perpetuate another's addiction, you know, so both of them are doing it. It's like, I mean, that's another good book, Kim. If you haven't read it's very scary.
I wrote it down, by M.
And it's all over. We can see it all over the planet. Okay.
That's why I was saying it is scary because it negatively affects people that have nothing to do with it. If you have people that agree, I like the scripture that says, you know, one can put 1,000 to flight, 2 10,000, right? So to me, that means collaboration is really strong, right? But what happens when the collaboration is evil, hurtful?
That's right.
To tear others down, because it really goes both ways. It's not just for the favorable or helpful, it's for destruction as well.
Yes.
So that codependency is toxic. And I think it's not that easy for a lot of people to walk away from that.
No, I remember I had to read the book Codependent No More in order for me to really understand what people were dealing with.
Okay.
You know, because it's a strong emotion that people actually think, oh no, I just love them. And no, it's something else, you know, because love is not harmful.
It's the complete opposite of love, like you said.
Do no harm. Do no harm. And that means to yourself and the other person too.
That's right.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Wow.
Okay, so I know we're getting down to the last half hour, but I got to ask, how can someone tell when they are ready to love again after being hurt? Because, you know, people, girl, some people, some people be like, I'm good for the rest of my life. I see you next lifetime.
Seriously. They're like, never again. But
never again.
yeah, I mean, that's how devastating, breakups and broken hearts can get.
Yes.
Especially when you're not aware. When you're not aware that you're going to get through this, that it's not going to overtake you, that it is just a time, right? And it's not your life, but it's pretty strong. So those feelings are really strong. So I think one way a person know they're ready to love again is when you're open with caution. Now, I'm going to say why I said the caution part. I think it's good that when you have a breakup or a heartbreak or whatever, you take some inventory of yourself, right? So in this inventory taking, we should be seeing what works for us, what doesn't work for us, right? So when I think of caution, I don't mean to be afraid. I mean that you have those things like when the train is coming and those yellow lights start, that lets the oncomers know, oh, a train is about to come. Let me slow down because I'm gonna have to stop. Nothing to be scared of, nothing to be afraid of, just cautious. So that's why I say they have to be open with caution. And that can qualify you to be ready to open yourself to love again. And it is going to take some vulnerability. It is going to take some openness. You have to open yourself to it. Well, almost like exposure, right? It's like, okay.
Exposure, yes.
Yeah. It's like I've been in the house all this time. Okay. I've been healing. It's like, okay, but now it's time for you to go outside because you actually need the fresh air.
You need the fresh air.
Right? Yeah. So I need to expose myself to outside. I can caution myself with, if the forecast says it's going to rain, I can take an umbrella, but the rain is not going to overtake me. And it is not a bad thing to be outside. Right? That's kind of how I see love relationships. It's like you're going to have to expose yourself. You're going to have to get out there in the elements. But you're going to be okay. You got your umbrella. Nothing's going to overtake you. And as you said, and this hit me so much when you said this, no one can hurt me without my permission.
Without your permission.
When we get that in our head, I believe we get to love more free and easier. Because I'm not doing the tantrum thing of withholding. When sometimes when we withhold, it's really because we like, I'm not going to give a person, I'm not going to even give them the chance to hurt me. But when you look at it from a reality state, well, you can't hurt me unless I allow you. And I'm not going to allow anybody. I'm not going to give that permission to anyone. And if my feelings are hurt, which is okay because a relationship didn't work out, I'm going to recover. This is not going to kill me. I think those are the things, once you're clear on those things, that's when you're ready to love again. That's what I believe.
That's all so perfect. Taking inventory of yourself and knowing what works for you and what doesn't work for you, and being willing to be vulnerable, exposing yourself, including your deepest pain. And I heard somebody recently, and this was somebody who called themselves a coach, and they literally said, well, I have never had a broken heart. My relationships have always flourished. And I thought to myself, well, how in the world are you helping anybody? Yeah. Because if you have not been broken,
come on.
Okay, well, what steps do you tell folks to get that you have no no insight, no real experience, right? But then the other side of that is the universe uses the broken heart to open us up to our full potential. Our heart chakra is pretty much, we keep it intact. We, like you said before, we protect ourselves, the whole caution piece. We're over cautious.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Yep. So sometimes the universe say, well, I got to send a real heavy hitter in here because this person is not letting their heart be exposed at all.
Mm-hmm.
And if your heart is not being exposed, you can't really be fully engaged in life, because life is about what you feel.
Yep. So
Okay. So your feelings. So the universe say, I'm gonna just crack this wide open
mm-hmm.
so you can get a feeling who you are in your depth. Your depth. And if you can come from that, right? If you
Mm-hmm.
can bring yourself back from that, you will have more strength, more appreciation, and more respect for yourself as a human being.
Yes.
So you haven't had a heartbreak? Well, just wait.
What do they say? Keep on living. And if
Oh,
and it,
living.
yeah, and if this person is an adult, which I'm sure they are,
Yeah.
they probably have just suppressed their heartbreak because they've had a heartbreak. I don't
Yeah,
care if
and
it was
and
from their mama,
I
a
agree
cousin.
with you, Kim. I totally
No,
agree.
there's been a
As
heartbreak.
though there's
Something.
something wrong. And what I said, what I actually commented was, make sure that you're not hiding shame inside of that statement,
Yeah, that's what you
right?
said.
Like whoever or however your heart was broken,
Yeah.
that the shame has been a part of you, being dismissal, not, or not paying attention. Not want. I don't want to point to it. I don't want to say that it's hurt is there, you know.
You
So
that yeah that and you can I just touch on that a little bit?
yes, please.
That it's important to recognize that and really be that is a part of fully accepting yourself. I think we can't
Yes.
accept just parts because when we only accept certain parts, then we speak things like that is not true. Oh, I've never had my heart broken, and then that's when it
Right.
becomes I'm perfect. I know how to show up in relationships, and everybody that I've
Hmm.
ever chosen is perfect too. That's not real. Last year I was in a relationship and I was so happy. I was so happy, right? And then the relationship ended. I was
Right.
not happy about that and how it ended.
Yeah.
But
Right.
I said, Kim, why are you so hurt about this? This is not a man you was with for even a year, and you just met
Hmm.
him. Like this is not somebody. Why are you so hurt? And you know what I said to myself after
Right.
really taking inventory? I said, oh, because you thought you were really going to be validated now as a relationship coach.
Oh,
Yeah,
come on.
that's
Be
what I thought.
truthful.
That's
Hmm.
that's why I was so hurt because he took that from me. Finally, now the relationship coach, has a man. And yes, I'm already in my 40s. It's about time. I
Hmm.
have arrived. And nope, nuh-uh, that's not
No
right.
Tinkerbell.
No Tinkerbell, no Missy Pooh,
No.
right? And then I was so upset and hurt about it. And I said, oh, Kim, you thought this was going to validate you even more as a relationship coach. So I could almost hear you in my mind speaking to me
Oh my
because
goodness.
I could hear you saying, now let's talk about that part though. Why do you feel
Yeah.
like you need to be validated when
Why does
you're already
anyone
doing
else
this stuff?
need to be? Come on.
Right. Yes.
Mhm.
So do you know, I believe that and maybe two other reasons I believe is why I even had the relationship with him. There was the stuff that needed to come up to the surface about myself
Yes.
that it was time to take care of. I
Come
needed
on.
to address those things. So I had to get open like, man, Kim, no, you're enough. You're called purpose to do what you're doing. And a failed relationship does not negate any of that. But I had to go through that process and really be honest with
Yes.
me.
Yes.
And
Yes.
I
That is
have openly
beautiful.
talked about it. I didn't get into details, but I openly talked about it. Like, y'all, look, the relationship coach got into a relationship and it failed. And I asked all
Yep.
the right questions and I showed up in the way I was supposed to. And guess what?
Yep.
He was a great person too. He
Yes.
wasn't a bad person,
Yep.
but I'm so skilled in who I am and aware of who I am. I knew we wasn't going to work out.
So let's move on quickly. Let's not set up 4 and 5 years inside of something pretending that it's good
Come
when
on.
it's not.
Thank you.
Right?
We're not
And
gonna
that's
do
what a
that.
lot of people do. Yeah,
They
but a
do.
lot of people do that.
Oh
Yeah,
God, so miserable.
a lot of people do.
Oh
Yes. And
Jesus.
then 20 years later, they're trying to figure out, why am I still here?
It's funny that you said 20 years because I had someone literally tell me that they said I have faked this marriage for 20 years I've been in, and I don't want to fake it.
What?
They literally said 20 years. They literally said 20 years, and they said, I don't want to fake this anymore.
Mm.
I said, oh Jesus. I both wanted to give them a high five for realizing it and also hugging them, because there can be a regret or waste of time that we think
so much
about.
Yep.
So it's just like I kind of wanted to protect them too and say it's okay. And I know you're hurt because 20 years is a long time.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So
that's right. But imagine, some people go through their whole lifetime, Kim, with relationships because somebody said, oh, you have to stay married forever, and this is your childhood sweetheart, and you have all these kids, and people, and then it's like, there is no joy and happiness in faking.
Ooh.
At all.
There's no joy and happiness in faking. Is that what you said?
Yes.
Ooh, that's powerful.
About that, right? Because, people used to have that saying, fake it till you make it. There's no faking it till you make it, because the universe honors your truth, your authenticity, your vibration, your frequency. Yes. You can't fake a frequency. You can't fake joy. Joy is inside. It's not in your smile and your laugh. It's in your heart.
Right? It's not. Oh, wait. You come on now. I can't write this fast.
You're so silly.
Dropping all these gems. Did you say your happiness is not in your smile? What? Please.
Right. It's your happiness is not in your smile. It's in your heart. Your joy is in your heart. So you can't fake that. You can't fake it. But you do have to cultivate it. You do have to be present to it. It has to be done on purpose. Yeah, it can't be given to you by someone, because if someone gives it to you, when they decide to take it away, guess where you left? So it has to be your own self.
It has to be. And sometimes people don't even leave because they want to. Sometimes people die.
Yes.
Right. So what happens if you're with the person, your perfect spouse, and they die, but you're here? So does that mean you get no love again?
Right. And do you stop living because of that? No.
Right.
The universe is so generous, right? Yes. I just love that we have the opportunity to keep living, but we have to choose it.
Yes.
And not throw this tantrum. Oh, life is supposed to go the way that I want it to, and it has to. And if it doesn't, I quit. No, we're not here to quit on life. We're here to discover deeper aspects of ourselves.
Amen.
I know. So, but, when people are ready to love again, I love what you said. They have to be open.
Gotta be open.
They have to be open.
Can't be afraid.
Can't be afraid.
It actually takes a pretty strong person to love again.
Courage is huge. You can't, don't tell me about love if you scary, because it don't work like
Come on. Thank you. Yes.
You just gotta have your heart broken. Well, stand in line, because it's about to be. The universe got to open you up to even prepare you for that juicy stuff. Come on. Yeah. Now, let me ask you, have you ever been so heartbroken that you thought you would never love again?
Yes.
What's that story?
Right. What's that story? Well, again, so this was in my 30s, like mid to later 30s. And mind you, this is all conditioning. Okay. This is all conditioning. And our conditioning does really set up our lives, particularly if we're not aware. of what we're kind of conditioned to do. It may not even be something we want, but we think we want it because we were told that's what we should want. So I'm in these 30s. I don't have children. I haven't been married yet. And I want to, I'm like, it's time, people over here talking about me, all of this stuff. And myself and a guy that I used to go to high school with, we ended up being able to connect. He had gotten a divorce, and I was still single. So we finally got a chance to explore a relationship with one another, which we always wanted to do, but we just kept missing each other. He was either married. Well, he was, married, or I wasn't available, something. But now, hey, we're both available, right? Wonderful.
Right.
Oh my goodness. I thought it was a beautiful relationship. He talked a lot about the future with me in mind. And he used to cook for me, and I love to eat. I'm not gonna lie. So, but he was so many things that I felt like I wanted. And I'm like, oh, yay, I'm about to be married. And then I get a call one night. Somebody woke me up out of my sleep. First they called me, and then they text me. Once I saw that they text me to call them, I said, oh goodness. I thought something was going on with them, because this particular friend at the time had been on suicide watch before. So when she called me and I didn't answer, but then she texted me and asked me to call her, I'm like, oh God, is something going on, So I called her back. I'm like, are you okay? What's going on? And she's like, girl, I'm sitting here talking to my best friend, and your guy go with her friend. She woke me up in the middle of the night to tell me that. So I'm like, wait, what? What are you talking about? So she's telling me all of this stuff, basically had a whole other girlfriend and all this. I said, well, let me talk to him. Good night. I don't like to hear a lot of detail, all of that stuff. I don't need to hear that.
No, don't tell me details, right?
Yeah, I have some friends that want details. I'm like, yeah, I'm not that person. I don't. Yeah, I don't want that. I
don't need the image in my head, right?
Because it's about image, and I'm very visual. My imagination, oh my goodness. So I remember I FaceTimed with him, and to make a long story short, he was very cold, and I asked him about the other person, and he's like, yeah, I'm dealing with them, yeah. And he kind of said it like it was whatever. And I said, but we're together, so why are you doing that? And he told me, he said, well, we're together, but we're not in love, and we're not living happily ever after. So, I mean, it is what it is.
Whoa.
God, I was so hurt. He had no feeling at all. Again, this was like a person, the way he was behaving towards me was like somebody I never met. After that, I took a week off of work. I did not eat for a week. Like, I really went into a depression. It was bad. It took a few days for me to even start drinking water again. Like I had become a part of my bed. I couldn't get out. And I said, in my head, this was your last chance.
Wow.
Anybody wanting you. Now, it's so funny because I look back and I'm like, girl, 30s is young. Child.
Yeah. But when it's happening, but when it's happening, baby, it's real.
It's so real. Thank you for acknowledging that, because it is
so real.
When you're in it, it's so real. So yeah, that was the situation that, and how cold he was. And this was somebody I knew since high school. He was,
and you're not expecting that.
No, I wasn't.
Like, what?
And he was a person who was very honest. He was one of those people that was almost brutally honest. So because I knew that about him, I always felt, if he wants to be with someone else, he's just going to tell me. I'm not going to be shocked. You know what I mean? We're going to have a conversation about it. He's going to move on, and I'll do whatever. I'll move on. So I wasn't expecting to get this information in this way, So that's what really got me. That got me.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, how long did it take you to get back to opening your heart?
Okay, so I had a plan. All right.
A plan?
I had a plan. Yes, because here's the thing. I still at this point was a life coach, right?
Yeah.
And
yeah.
I was a newer life coach, but I had some tools. Okay. So I said, all right, we got to get clear on how we're about to handle this situation. One thing I believe is that it takes us as long as we choose to get over something.
Yes, it does.
It's going to be as long as or short. But because up until that age, so I was 38 at the time, up until that age, I always had some guy. So I decided to give my heart a break, meaning some time off from any relationship. Because I had never done that. And it kind of goes back to that question earlier when you said, like, when do you know you should not be in a relationship? That is when I knew, well, first of all, I thought I couldn't have one. It would never happen again. But then when I kind of settled in my mind, I was like, yeah, you need some time just where you're not focused in being a girlfriend. So I gave myself a year. I said, well, so that happened at the end of 2018. So I said, for 2019, I'm going to do everything I want to do. Mind you, I was raised a church girl. So there was a lot of things that I did not do. Because I was taught they were sins and stuff like that. Well, at that age, I was like, no, I'm about to live for a year. So I did that for 2019. And then I said in 2020, that's when I'm going to start intentionally dating. But then, the situation happened. I'll say that. And then it shut everything.
That plan. Yeah.
Yeah. The planned situation. Right.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. But so that's why I said I had a plan. I really had to, I wasn't with anybody, but I do believe it takes as long as we want it to take. So I'll say this, I started entertaining men again after that, probably like 3 months later.
Okay.
And just going out, just even like going out and hanging out with, because at first
hanging out.
Yes. So, but I don't think it takes long if we don't want it. That's what I think.
And I actually tell women, and men, to take at least a year sabbatical, like really, like, dating celibacy is real. Like no dates for a year will give you a chance to actually heal your heart, but to even figure out what is it that you want, because we are attracting ourselves.
Yes.
So instead of being over there blaming the other person, you have to look and see, how is this person reflecting who I am?
Yeah.
Right. So you can't do that immediately. You probably going through the same person with a different name. Right.
That's it. They just got a different name, but it's the same person, like you said. I agree. Yeah.
Yeah. So can you give people some techniques or methods that they can use to actually get over a broken heart? Some things that you may have done or may have recommended to your clients?
Okay. Well, the first thing I was going to say is get a coach. Okay.
Girl, get a coach, baby. Come on.
You need some guidance on how to get through that thing. But yeah, so the first thing, and not necessarily in this order, but I would say the first thing should be to just make sure you're good. I think what I've seen a lot of people do is try to reconcile as their first line of defense. And the first line of defense really should be if you're okay. Meaning, don't spend time right away trying to figure out what you did wrong or what they did wrong. The first line of defense should be, if you're the person that likes hiking and you stopped hiking while in a relationship, start hiking again. Or pick up a new hobby, learn something new. I think that's good to do after that. After a breakup, to just help you get on the trajectory to get through it. Number two, I think after you've kind of found your space and settling yourself, go ahead and examine what caused the demise of the relationship, but without the emotion. Like you can't be judgmental. You really got to say, No emotion, but what could have caused this thing to break down? I think that's important. And taking the emotion out of it.
That's right. I like to tell people, what can you take responsibility for?
Oh, yeah. The clients are always baffled when I say, okay, so how did you contribute to the demise of the relationship?
Girl, no, it was him. Right.
No, you did. No, I promise you did. So
promise you did.
Go ahead. You can get back to me in our next session. I'm going to give you a week to figure it out because you did something. And no, don't tell me my only mistake was choosing a bad guy. Nope, that's not an answer.
No, that's not an answer. And people will give that in a heartbeat, won't they? They were just the wrong person for me. No.
I'm like,
universe, no.
No. And you know what? You still chose them.
And you still chose.
And that you chose to stay with after you knew it wasn't going to work. But anyway.
And you've been with them for some time. Right. So examine what caused the demise without the emotion.
Without the emotion. And I have to say that without the emotion because we start getting emotional and then we do the blame game. And we just can't be honest and say what actually happened. And then number 3 is the reality of knowing you're going to experience love again and again and again and again. That's the reality part that I think most of us miss. Like you were just saying earlier, when you're in that space, it's so serious. You're like, I'm never gonna love anybody. Ain't nobody gonna love me. No, the reality is you will experience it, but as you also said, we have to be intentional. So when we make ourselves available emotionally, mentally, physically, we're ready to be open and vulnerable, then it's like you can know, okay, I need to acknowledge that I'm gonna find love again. And I think that changes our energy about relationships. Because now you have something to look forward to, and you have to live from an abundance state and not a lack state.
Girl, you better say that.
Yeah. And I think that's why a lot of times we kind of stay longer than we should, because we really feel like this is the only one we're going to get.
This is it. And it's not.
This is it. And it's not. It's the biggest lie. One of the biggest lies ever told.
That's right.
But if
you'll never find anybody like me.
I hope not.
Come on.
I don't want nobody like you. But but abundance says, okay, this didn't work out. I'm hurt because I really love the person. But I have plenty to choose from and experience.
Girl, and the universe is really trying its best to get it to you. I promise you, love is so abundant. Looking at the leaves on the trees and the bushes, the universe is abundant all around us.
Yes.
Right? Oh my goodness.
So true.
Kim, you have given us so much today. Oh, I can't wait to see what we're going to talk about next month in these conversations about relationships.
Okay.
Yes. So much.
Yes.
Thank you so much. So tell people the services that you offer and how they can engage with you. And then what are your final comments? Because we're at the end of the show. We have been talking for 2 hours now.
Wow. We got here quick.
Yes, we did.
We got here quick. Yeah. So the services I offer, I am a certified life coach. So I offer one-on-one services. I actually just opened my books back up for one-on-one services this month in July.
Okay.
I also offer group coaching. I'm also a host and a facilitator, and I provide events either online or in person. So those are the things that I do, are the services that I provide. And what else did you ask me? I'm sorry.
Where can they find you?
Oh, you can find me. Yes. So you can find me on my website, kimperdue.com, KIMPERDUE. I'm also on social media. Instagram is Kim Perdue Official, and Facebook is Kimberly Perdue. And that's where you can find me. I'm always there.
She is always there. Until she's not. Okay,
Right.
because she does take her
Right.
spiritual maintenance
I
breaks. I
do.
do know that for sure.
I
Yes.
do. Yes, I do.
Well, this has been a wonderful show. I have so many notes. We may have to co-write a book because this is
Oh,
some
I'd
good
love that.
stuff.
I would
Yeah,
love
we
that.
have to.
I'm down.
Okay, we have so much to offer people inside
Yes.
of this realm because I believe it's the next thing we need to discover is
Oh
about the
God.
true juice of relationships because it's everything.
Because it's so
And we keep
powerful.
thinking so powerful. We think it's money and job and fame, and no, it's how are you relating to yourself
Mhm.
and the world around you,
Yes.
including your people, right?
Yes. For sure,
Very
people.
good.
Yes. Thank you
All
so
right,
much.
everyone. Yes, you are welcome. We'll have you back again.
Okay. Sounds good.
All right, family. This is WBRO Soul. You've been listening to Master Force Radio with your host, Shemsu-t. And we will be back again next Tuesday where we're talking about health is wealth. And we're going to leave you with this fantastic song from Ascend, okay, called Yearning. In the meantime, you keep mastering your life force and look forward to seeing you next week. Bye, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks, Kim.
Thank you.
So bad. So bad.